Gutierrez, regular member, attending via Zoom. Attorney Leon Deputy Lamon, regular member. Mr. Eric Dimaculangan, provisional member. And Superintendent Genaro Manso Jr., provisional member and user from PPP. Likewise, we have in attendance the head and members of the technical working group, head and members of the BAC Secretariat. On the part of the prospective bidders, we have representatives from TechnoShine, Evergreen Prime Life, Boston Home, Anascom Electronics Supply.
Thank you. Consider the foregoing. The chair declares that there is a quorum. HO-BAC-PGCS number 048-2021 comes to order. Secretary, please specify.
We have 3 items in our agenda, Mr. Chair. Number 1 is the credit conference for the supply and delivery of body-worn cameras, phase 2. Number 2 is the deliberation on the request for consideration for the supply, delivery, and installation of air conditioning units in PTA head office and port management offices. Supply and delivery of HEPA-certified air purifiers. Supply and delivery of servers. Supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of the customized asset status and performance automation system, hardware and software. Number 3 item is the bid evaluation report for the supply, delivery, and installation of air conditioning units in PPA office and port management offices.
Thank you. And that's your objection. Let's proceed to the first item on our agenda, the credit conference. Secretary.
For the supply and delivery of body-worn cameras, phase 2, the project was posted in the PPA and Builders websites on 14 June 2021 with an approved budget for the contract of 170 million pesos. We have representatives first from TechnoShine, Ms. Jessa May Salgado.
Okay, TechnoShine. Can you turn on your camera? Wala siyang camera. TechnoShine, are you there? Miss Salgado? TechnoShine, can you hear me? Let's cycle back to TechnoShine. Let's proceed with the other prospective leaders.
The next prospective leader, Evergreen Prime Life, Mr. Joseph Polido.
Evergreen, Evergreen. So they signified their intent to join, but as of date, they are not yet in the Zoom group, correct? Okay.
The next one, Boston Home, Miss Dalia Ubay.
Okay, Boston Home.
Morning po.
Good morning. Do you have any questions, Ms. Ubay? Ms. Ubay, do you have any questions? Boston Home. Boston Home, can you hear me? Boston Home. May tanong po kayo?
None po.
None, okay.
Okay, Anascom Electronic Supply, Mr. Arthur Duyan.
Anascom? Anascom, can you hear me? Nakamute po kayo? Anascom? Anascom, nakamute pa kayo?
Nakamute po kayo, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, Anascom. Are you Arthur Duyan? Hello? Anascom, please introduce yourself.
Wala po kayong mic, ma'am.
Anascom, wala kaming naririnig. Anascom, hindi namin kayo naririnig. Anascom, can you hear me?
Sorry, tapang may masama.
Anascom.
Yes po.
Okay, please introduce yourself.
I'm Analiana Valdez, Secretary of Mr. Arthur Duyan.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Nothing po.
Ano yun? Do you have any questions? Nothing?
Opo.
No questions? Okay. Ano secretary? Yes. No questions. Ano po?
Ito mo, sir.
Okay, so may tinaging tanong. Sandali lang, ha?
Take the same pala to.
Oh, I got it. Take your time. Okay. Understood, no questions, okay? Okay, Madam Secretary. So let's proceed with Take the Shine. They have typed a question. At what locations are the flyaway satellite antennas will be located? Hindi, ito ba yung, di ba, ay sagot natin yung huli, that it is required that they assign 5 flyaway satellites.
Yes, sir.
Tapos, sila paala mo ano yung coverage. So, under our TOR, we will not be the one to set kung ano yung coverage and location ng flyaway satellites. However, 5 satellites should be able to cover all the areas provided for under the TOR. So, Secretary, siya, narinig niyo yun? Secretary siya? Okay. Do you have any other questions?
Understood daw.
Hindi, pero understood yung tanong. Pero baka may additional tanong. Do you have any additional? Okay, wala.
Wala.
Walang sagot.
Wala.
For the information of the prospective bidders, the submission and opening of bids is on July 6, 2021. The deadline for submission is at 9 a.m. The opening of bids is at 10 a.m. July 6, 2021.
Thank you. That ends the previous conference portion of our agenda. Prospective bidders are now excused. Let's proceed to the next item of our agenda. The request for reconsideration is the technical working group ready to submit its recommendation.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed. Okay, first one, aircon. So in the aircon, we had three bidders, 2 had issues,
Yes, Mr.
and 2 filed a request for consideration within the regulatory period.
Yes.
And the technical working group has gone over this request for consideration and has come up with its recommendation. Please proceed.
There is no legal basis.
Yes, sir. For the first one, Blue Temp was declared, was found to have failed the requirements of the first envelope since it did not submit proof that it had local service centers. Hence, its request for consideration. Where it argued that it thought that the proof was to be complied with during the post-qualification process. Because it is, the wording is, bidding bidder must have a local service center. Although they admit, they insist that they said that they would comply with this requirement. However, considering there was no proof, that's why the technical working group said that they failed the requirement. Okay, now the recommendation of the technical working group.
The technical specification form provides that statements of comply or not comply must be supported in the evidence in a bidder's bid and cross-reference to that evidence. Evidence shall be in the form of manufacturer's amended sales literature and conditional statements of specifications and compliance issued by the manufacturer, samples, independent test data, etc. as appropriate. A statement that is not supported by evidence or is subsequently found to be contradicted by evidence presented will render the bid under evaluation liable for rejection. The contention of the bidder that the proof of its compliance that it has a local service center will only be presented during the conduct of the post-qualification is misplaced. The proof of its compliance together with the technical specification form must be included in its technical proposal. In view of the foregoing, the PWH recommends the denial of the request for reconsideration for lack of merit.
Okay, bakit? Sa bid docs mismo natin, sa technical specification form na may technical spec and may plan, may instructions doon na yung comply and not comply must be supported by evidence.
Yes.
We can say sample data. So, notwithstanding its contention na yung wording a winning bidder over a clerk, nakalagay mismo talaga sa bid docs. So, dito, okay, so may instructions tayo sa technical specification. Now, for them, when they say comply, they have to proof. So, ito yung nauuna before they proceed with the technical spec. So, unless we give instructions na sasabihin natin na sapat na yung comply.
Nasa yung instruction na gawin, bidder must.
Hindi. Nasa DOR na may line yan dito.
Pero dito sa dito, wala nakalagay na word by bidder.
Hindi, yun yung wording siguro.
Bidders must very clearly demonstrate. Pero wala yung hindi mo.
Hindi, yun yung technical spec. Alam mo dito, sa spec natin, binibidder na sa ganyan. They say, so if you could comply, you have to prove that you can comply with that requirement. Hindi, ito. So it is sa part ng lahat ng mga technical specifications natin, this is a standard form na provided for the GPTV. You know it's not sufficient when you state comply or not comply.
Kasi ang ano ko na is kapag nasabi natin yung main bidder, for me, there is no word.
Hindi. Kasi may instruction dito. So, sa loob, nakalagay ito dito na as part of the services, the winning bidder must have this. Yes, easy.
And only local service pero ito yung iba kasi ito yung full body.
Kasi na tayo mga biglogs, magmanyan natin mga leader o
As part of the technical specification.
Pero dito sa ano,
leader must be able to deliver.
oo, sa airport, sa airport, ito rin yung nakalagay.
Oo,
Lahat kasi
standard.
standard dito.
Standard form yan.
Nagbabago lang siya yung naman sa aid documents. Yung mga nakalagay sa documents, minimum natin, nasa
So, paano yung instructions pa?
Format yan ng meeting document.
So ito sa ano na quality of
Halimbawa, parang ginote nila, one lot of ganyan. Yan yung ginote na. So, part of the technical spec, nakalagay ito.
Hindi, pero sa pinot na nag-word na willing bidder, kahit yan sa POI.
You are not. Joe, do you have anything to add? Joe?
Mr. Chair, sorry, nasa board ako.
Kasi dapat siguro, pwede mo kasi natin.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I wasn't listening. Meron kasi kami din discuss sa board. Sorry. Teka lang hindi kita maintindihan. Lalabas lang ako. Saglit lang.
Okay lang, Joe. It's okay.
Yes.
Anything to add regarding the true temp request for reconsideration?
Mr. Chair, Sorry. Ano po yan?
The winning bidder is saying that they said they will comply with the requirement of the bidder, but have a local service center, but they thought that the compliant, the proof will only be submitted during post-quad. Notwithstanding the instructions of the technical specifications form as provided under the bid docs. So the recommendation of the technical working group is to deny the request for consideration. So far, we examined the documents, the format of the form, and we were wondering if you have any comments.
So Chair, I agree dun sa recommendation ng technical working group.
Okay, thank you. So, are you moving?
Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of the PWG recommendation to deny the request for consideration for lack of merit of the true temp for the supply, delivery, installation of aircon units in prepaid office and for management offices.
It has been moved as a without recommendation of the technical working group. Where is the Hearing
Thank
that,
Mr. Chair.
there being that, true temp. The request for shared consideration of true temp is hereby denied. Secretary will make sure to prepare the necessary resolution and notice. Let's proceed to the next request for consideration. A. So in this, during the opening of this, A. Cruz. A. Cruz did not take into consideration the bid bulletin which we issued, hence they only committed to deliver 161 air conditioning units and not the 164 units provided for under our amended schedule requirements. Hence, they also failed to commit the specification of those type of air conditioning, correct? And they did not submit a certification. Sino ba klase ito? So first, they did not comply with the number of units. The schedule requirement. Second,
It's a technical specifications form, sir, instead of 11 units.
so nagkulang sa technical specification kasi kulang yung total, yung sa breakdown, kulang din. Okay?
And then, yung isa pa po, yung location ng additional 3 units, hindi nila indicate na sa kanila mapupunta.
So nagsama na yun. Kasi first, kulang yung number. Second, yung breakdown, kulang na din. Tapos yung location na kailangan ilagay yun, hindi nila sinabi ko kung yun. So basically, that's one error na nagsalasaan. Okay.
And they also failed to submit proof of its compliance that it has a local service center.
So no proof of local service center as well. In there. Okay. And so they filed a request for consideration, stating that by conforming and signing the supplemental with bulletin. But when they said they're signing the supplemental with bulletin, it means they attached it, and then because they're supposed to sign each and every page, they signed that page as well. Okay. And by signing the supplemental with bulletin, the DOR is understood that they agree and bind itself to all changes and revisions. Pero they did not include these changes and revisions in the other documents. And they already said they'll comply. And then we have no clear requirement of any certification on the checklist. And then, okay, what's your recommendation?
For the first round, with respect to the attachment and yung signing of the supplemental bid bulletin. There is no legal basis under RA 9184 and its IRR and the standardized bidding bidding documents that require bidders to attach a copy of the supplemental bid bulletin as part of their submissions. Since they are not one of those documents required to be enclosed in the technical and financial component from envelopes in accordance with RA 9184 and its IRR. The bidder, however, must submit a bid or offer using the bidding documents issued by the PPA, incorporating the changes, amendments made in the bidding documents for supplemental bid bulletin.
Okay. So hindi required na i-attach yung supplemental bid bulletin as part of their submission sa first envelope.
Yes.
So, their potential is, i-attach namin, kaya ibig sabihin namin, we're going to comply with that requirement. Now, we are going to accept that. So, it means na they will comply with the number, di ba? That's okay, no? They did not use the word bulletin, kasi natouch nila. What they did was, they did
Ang gusto nila, mag-issue ang PPA ng mga forms
na-revise
na
na.
revise na.
Hindi naman yun.
Opo, specific naman yung bid bulletin natin. Kung
We're
ano
correcting
yung mga
this.
portions na dapat i-amend, yung i-amend. So siya dapat i-incorporate na.
They already prepared.
Even assuming na sabihin natin na, okay, you're signing the form means, and the bid bulletin means you comply with that. It should still be reflected under the technical specification because that is our basis in determining whether or not, well, to hold you liable kung anong i-deliver mo. So absent that, hindi natin masasabi na we refer to this document to show that you will comply with our requirement. So basically, if we're going to accept their argument, we're accepting ano nakalagay kasi basically the technical specs commitments is what we will do, what is controlling in what they will deliver, what they will deliver, can and will deliver. Okay. Sige, please proceed.
The statement comply of the bidder in the technical specifications form should be coupled with proof of its compliance with the technical specifications required under the bidding documents. The technical specification form provides that statements of comply or not comply must be supported by evidence in a bidder's bid and cross-reference to that evidence. Evidence shall be in the form of manufacturer's amended sales literature, conditional statements of specification, etc. as appropriate. A statement that is not supported by evidence or is subsequently found to be contradicted by the evidence presented will render the bid under evaluation liable for rejection. With respect to his allegation that his bid offer is allegedly lower than the other bidder whose financial envelope has already been opened, is premature considering that the bank has yet to open its financial envelope. Also, for a bid to be considered advantageous to the government, it is not enough that the bidder offers the lowest price. Its technical bid should also comply with the technical specification set by the procuring entity in the bidding documents. Hence, the offering the lowest bid is not a ground to compel the government to award the contract in his favor, nor to compel it to accept his bid. In view of the foregoing, the TWG recommends the denial of the request for consideration filed by HO Enterprise.
Thank you. Now opening the floor for discussion. Angie.
I have no further comments with the recommendations of the TWG. However, Mr. Chair, I would like to, if it's possible, to recommend to put in our bill docs, if it's possible, parang ilalagay lang na certification required. Kung doon sa specific item na yun, for example, any warranty or what, lagay lang, hindi ko pwedeng lagay lang close, naka-close ng certification required. Para lang malinaw siya na Kasi dito, meron kang statement, leaders must submit the following. Pero, considering that there are so many things to be complied with, parang ano dito, from among these compliance requirements, yung nangangailangan that we need a certification to be attached during the opening of this.
Yes, Miss Archie, take note namin and sasabihan natin yung nag-prepare ng terms of reference kasi sila yung naglalagay ng mga requirements na yun. Kami, nung gumagawa ng bid docs, nililist lang natin yung mga provisions ng POR doon sa form.
So for example, certain certification for local service, certification must be attached. For example, yung warranty, any other documents that need to be attached or manual, very specific na talaga siya na ilagay for each scope of work or text specs. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think their transfer legal consideration clearly is a year after all.
Ganun naman talaga yan. Siyempre, hindi naman before may inisip ka na.
Kasi yun, by attaching the supplemental bid bulletin, yun na yung compliance nila, di ba? There's nothing that constrains them from indicating near numbers lang naman yun dun sa...
Salamat ka, sir. Yung abogado yan, wag mo tanggalin ang trabaho ng mga kapwa natin abogado. Yan ang trabaho nila mag-isip. So, if you have any comments, feel free to put it. Pero busy ka sa board, we understand. So what's the pleasure of the back?
Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of the PWG recommendation to deny the request for consideration for lack of merit of Focus Enterprise for DPD for the supply, delivery, and installation of aircon units in PPA office and port management offices. And the motion.
It has been moved seconded down the petition of technical interpretation the request for consideration of iFoods Enterprise is hereby denied for lack of merit. Secretary to instruct to prepare the necessary resolution and notice to Alphas Enterprise so that they may be provided with the decision of the honorable bids and awards committee in writing, so that they may be well guided in its specific basis in the event that it would be necessary for our company to elevate the matter to other concerned agencies to seek further reconsideration and redress. Also reminded that the proper remedy is to delegate it to the head of the procuring entity after the payment of 1% of the bid. Which is
Non-refundable.
non-refundable. Okay. Technical working group.
Please summarize the proceedings which have accomplished by the
supply and delivery of HO-BAC certified air purifiers. We have two bidders, Assembly Design Center Incorporated and Aglahi Urban Builders. Both bidders were declared failed. For Assembly Design, for failure to submit brochure for the goods being offered, and for Aglahi Urban Builders, for failure to submit a valid DTI registration, since the one indicated in Annex A of its wheelchair certificate of registration has already expired. Asahi Design Center Incorporated filed a request for reconsideration alleging that the attached brochure came from Sharp for KZVS for the brand being offered.
Were they not in manufacturers brochure?
Yes, sir. And the document submitted by the bidder, although with the label brochure, cannot be considered a brochure since the technical specification and the number of units required as indicated in the bidding documents were only lifted and printed on a paper bearing the bidder's letterhead and signed by its account officer.
So, considering that it bears it for the bidder's letterhead and was signed by the account officer, it is obviously a brochure issued by the bidder and not a manufacturer's, and not the manufacturer.
And the belated submission of the brochure after the scheduled opening of bids is tantamount to modification enhancement of the original bid, which is prescribed under section 26.1 of the IRR of RA 9184, which provides that a bidder may modify its bid.
So, halimbawa ito, so sinabi sa kanila na, sabi nung sir, hindi, kunin niyo yung brochure sa website namin. Bigyan natin. Kung print nila yung page, okay na yun. So, dapat yun na lang yung ginawa nila. Hindi, print nila, pero print nila sa letterhead nila. So, hindi ka brochure nila.
Hindi sir, hindi yung ganun ang ginawa nila. Yung ating TOR, parang proposal siya sir, para yung mga requirements natin under the TOR, nilink nila yun dun sa paper na pinirmahan nila na may letterhead nila and sinign ng kanilang account.
So, basically, to comply with this, if the manufacturer, right, so we don't really need brochure, hindi naman kailangan talaga ng brochure galing sa manufacturer. So, pwede i-link po sa website well, basically, you print the website of the manufacturer and we will accept that.
Provided na
Which is, ginawa nila dito ngayon, pinakita sa atin yung brochure. Yung ano.
Yung sa inattach nila sir sa MRP.
Ayun nga, so kung yun ang binigay nila, no issue tayo.
Yes sir.
Pero since, well, kinuha nila you are not user of reference na it's nila, di ba niyo?
From Sharp, showing the attachment and
Okay. Dahil sa kanila talaga. Okay,
Parang
hindi book down eh.
ay, yes sir, yung MRP.
Brochure siya.
Sa
Pero
pangalan.
brochure nila. Hindi, sa TOR natin ito, di ba?
Yes sir, lifted
Pati
nila.
pa itong drawing.
Yes, lahat, pati yung number of units.
So, 100 points creativity, 0 points compliance. Okay, proceed.
The belated submission of the brochure after the scheduled opening of bids is tantamount to modification or enhancement of the original bid, which is prescribed under section 26.1 of the IRR of RA 9184, which provides that a bidder may modify its bid provided that this is done before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. In view of the foregoing, the TWC recommends denial of the request for reconsideration filed by Asahi Design Center Incorporated.
But kung may discussion pa sa warranty,
Wala naman, sir, ano lang yan eh. Siya lang nag-discuss ng
hindi issue yun.
Opo, kasi ito lang naman yung ano, sir.
So, hindi nyo nakita na wala siyang warranty.
Hindi, sir.
Hindi nyo wala siyang warranty. Okay. So, akala lang niya may no warranty denial siya. So, nag-discuss siya ng warranty. Yung ground lang naman natin is yung for sure.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, the proper discussion.
so far, I think
Ala. Kasi, explain for sure. Hindi naman dapat ang ibig sabihin ng manufacturer for sure.
Meron nakalagay na siya. Sharp HO-BAC.
So, pag nilagay nilang header, sharp.
Kasi tapos may pagkayakap ng mag-asawa.
Siya na din yung purifier.
Yun ang
Submit siya, sir, oh. Sa record niya.
So, kaya niya.
Ayan, oh.
Oo, kaya lang.
Kaya lang, hindi mo na yan tatanggapin kasi enhancement mo.
Babalik niya na si Stephanie. This is obviously an afterthought. Delikado na maging judge. Gagana na may witness. This is obviously an afterthought. Hindi, ikaw naisip yan. Hindi, kasi sisi talaga dapat dito. There are plans, it's possible na nagkakamali sila. Tingnan mo, yung kaya okay, mali yung resume nila, last nila, fail tuloy nila. Yung pa-type numbers na pabalik na.
Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of the PWG recommendation denying the request for the consideration of Aglahi Design Center Incorporated. Asahi Design Center Incorporated for Dapog Merit.
Second motion, Mr. Chair.
Yes, move the second without recommendation of federal include the submission. There being none, the request for consideration of Sami Design Center Incorporated hereby denied for lack of merit to the
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's proceed to the other request for consideration.
Aglahi Urban Builders was declared failed for failure to submit a valid DTI certificate since the one indicated in Annex A of its PhilJet certificate of registration platinum membership had already expired. Aglahi Urban Builders contends that it already submitted a valid PhilJet certificate during the bid submission, and it's not and may be submitted in lieu of Class A documents. The movement attached in its request for consideration a current and valid DTI registration certificate. NPM number 065-2017 dated December 12, 2017 provides that for purposes of complying with the eligibility requirements, the tax clearance and all other eligibility documents must be valid and existing at the time it is submitted to the bank, that is on or before the deadline for the submission of bids. As quoted by the movement in its motion for consideration, NPM number 147-2017 dated December 29, 2017 provides that for all procurements project advertised and posted on September 2, 2017, a bidder may submit either Class A eligibility documents in lieu of the PhilJet certificate of registration if it has not yet obtained a platinum membership, or if already registered under the platinum category, their PhilJet certificate of registration and membership in lieu of the uploaded file of Class A documents or a combination thereof in the event that some Class A documents earlier submitted with PhilJet already expired, but a renewal thereof had already been secured. Thus, the bidder should have submitted in its technical proposal its current DTI registration certificate since the one indicated in Annex A of its PhilJet certificate had already expired. The submission of the current DTI registration certificate after the opening of bids is tantamount to modification or enhancement of the original bid, which is prescribed under Section 26.1 of the IRR of RA 9184, which provides that a bidder may modify its bid, provided that this is done before the deadline for the submission and receipt of the bids. In view of the foregoing, the PWC recommends that the request for reconsideration of Aglahi Urban Builders be denied for lack of merit.
For all procurement projects advertised or posted, or if already registered under platinum category, which they are, their future certificate of registration and membership in lieu of the uploaded file of Class A documents or a combination thereof Okay. They may submit their class. So if already registered under Platinum, their field gem certificate of registration and membership, if you've uploaded. Parang weird of sentence. If already registered under Platinum category, their field gem certificate of registration and membership, in lieu of the uploaded part of Class A document or combination din. Ano gagawin ito? Okay, the requirement is you should be registered with the gem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here, if ano yan po?
Ay, nag-poke yan.
Ah,
Siya ang nag-poke yan.
hindi, sa code natin.
So parang ang ano kasi di ba, yung kunyari may field jets ka, sa Annex A, all valid, all correct.
Kaya ba yung pero sa akin, yung code na, what is actually stated in MTM number 147-2013. Kami tulad sa kailangan nakalagay.
Wala sa
Hindi. Hindi,
Meron siyang field jets registration.
Okay, the rules is, if you have field gems, when you apply for field gems kasi, there are documents which you need to submit. And this is attached as an annex to your field gem certificate. Now, nakalagay din yung mayor's permit, tax clearance, DTI, or SEC. The rule is, if it's not expired, you don't need to give that. Insufficient for determining the legal requirement. However, if expired, you need to submit, you need to attach, in addition to the field gem certificate, the renewed tax clearance permit, etc. Whatever it had expired. Yun yung naiintindihan natin. Hindi ko maintindihan paano nila sinulat dito. Non-policy matter. So, yung option mo lang is, you can give the Class A documents, and then yung field gem certificate ang pwede pakita sa post-class.
Yes, sir.
That's the other way around. So, hindi ko pwede sabihin, I gave the field gem certificate, by nag-expire, I'll just give that to a post-class. Which has been our interpretation naman dito for the longest time, considering mayor's permit and tax clearances is, if it's expired and you don't attach it, you fail the legal requirement. Ang weird lang talaga ng words. Hindi kasi hindi ko sa kanila yung field gem. So parang sinasabi natin, since ginawa na ng field gem yung pag-review niya, hindi na namin sisilipin yan. Issuean ka naman ng field gem, pero ka niyan. Now, pag expired, you have to renew that. Eh kasi yung field gem certificate, 2 years yun eh. So nangyayari talaga, nag-expire yun. So nangyayari, yung mayor's permit and yung tax clearance, sigurado yan na you will have to renew that sometime during the lifetime of the field gem certificate. So yun yung karamihan ng rulings. Eh mahaba-haba yung theory ng DTI registration. So natadali siya as part of what has expired during the lifetime of the field gem. You need to submit the renewed. At alam naman niya yun.
Pero siguro sir, error kasi
Ayun nga, kasi ina-touch niya yung luma eh.
Ibig sabihin meron na siya.
Na-touch niya yung luma.
Hindi ko nakalabas yung siyang review.
Hindi, meron siyang renewed. Ibig sabihin, yung naghahanda, mali ang dating. Sabi ko, kailangan mo i-attach yung DTI. Ina-touch niya yung DTI, may tap pa. Yung problema lang, yung ina-touch niya at tinap niya, yung luma.
Kaya paulit lang. So, there is this presence of field jet certificate. However, the DTI registration in that field jet certificate
That's expired.
has expired.
Yes.
But they did attach.
No, they attached the DTI registration. Pero they attached the same DTI registration which has already expired. Obviously, it's an afterthought. Yan na yung favorite comment sa mga request. Hindi. Hindi. Mas naniniwala ka sa kanila na yun talaga yung isip nila. Pero
parang may something na argument, pero kulang sa password.
hindi sinabi dito na kailangan mo i-attach.
Oo, kasi
Pero yung interpretation for the longest time. Hindi, that's the wording talaga. Magulo lang talaga. Yun yung interpretation niya na kailangan mo talaga ibigay mo. Kung na-expire, ibigay mo. Kasi ang masasabi ng field checks, ito yung na-review namin documents, meron siya nito. Hindi yung masa-certify ng field checks na nag-review sila. So, in the eyes of field checks, ano na po-prove ng field check certificate is, meron silang documents na ganito, pero expired na. So it's incumbent upon them as part of the legal requirement to show that we have a valid tax clearance payers permit. Kasi legal requirement natin yun. So the only effect ng field checks is hindi na natin hahanapin. But hindi nga, nagkamali sila ng sulat niya.
Actually, ang pinote niya, against sa kanya kasi. Against sa kanya.
Ito rin hindi mo.
First place, hindi niya dapat ipinote to. Kasi ito yung nagsasabi na dapat na
Ito nga niya. We have a legal requirement. There are certain legal requirements which we require in the opening of the technical documents. In view of the submission of these documents, may field check siya. So sabi natin, okay, hindi na namin hanapin yun kasi nasilip na field check siya. Pero when we see, expired yan, we cannot use the field check certificate as basis for saying meron ka nun. Kasi expired eh. So you have to submit na, oy, registered ako sa, may mayor's permit ako, hindi mayor's permit. So ito may class din sa mga tax years. Do you want to add your comment for the record? Let all further discussion on request for reconsideration include Dennis' comment. Continuing comment, Dennis.
Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of the PWG recommendation denying the request for reconsideration of Aglahi Urban Builders regarding the supply and delivery of TEPA certified air purifiers due to a lack of merit.
And a motion, Mr. Chair.
It has been discussed with our representation of group to position their demand. The request for consideration of Aglahi Urban Builders is hereby denied, considering that both bidders request for consideration was denied. We have no valid bidder for this project. So what's the pleasure of the board? Are you moving?
I think that is government PGCS.
It has been put as seconded that we declare the procurement of supply and delivery of HEPA certified air purifiers in failure Do I position there too? There being none, motion is carried, Secretary to instruct to prepare the necessary resolution and notice for the end of the hearing.
Yes.
Let's proceed to the next project and next request for consideration.
During the opening of the bids for the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of servers, the lone bidder, Dallas Enterprise, was declared failed for failure to submit the schedule of requirements form. In its motion for consideration, Dallas Enterprise contends that the checklist of technical and financial documents did not include tabbing for section 6 schedule of requirements. The submitted technical specification form indicated their compliance with all the provisions stated in the terms of reference not indicated herein, and the statement of compliance included their commitment to effect the delivery of the equipment within the prescribed schedule. The schedule of requirements is included in item I of the checklist of technical and financial documents, which provides that conformity with the technical specifications, which include production, delivery schedule, manpower requirements, and or after sales parts, if applicable. Further, the schedule of requirements form is prescribed in section 6 of the preliminary bidding documents issued by the GPPP. The BAC only lifted said requirement in the preparation of its bidding documents. The catch-all provision in the technical specification form applies only to those specifications which may not have been included in the listing of the technical specifications in the said form as specified in the terms of reference. In compliance thereto cannot be considered as a substitute for the other documentary requirements which must be submitted in its technical proposal. In view of the foregoing, the PWC recommends the denial of the request for reconsideration of Dallas Enterprise for lack of merit.
So yung catch-all provision para sa pagkakamali ng procuring entity yun.
Opo. Tsaka ng ano sir.
Hindi na kopya lahat ng mga specs na nakalagay sa terms of reference sa technical specifications. So kung hindi mo talaga yun, may catch-all phrase na sinasabi mo, I will comply with all of that. Kasi baka hindi na kopya. So una, sinasabi nila wala sa checklist. Nandun sa checklist pero hindi hiwalay na checklist. So nandun yung malinaw na may delivery schedule. Secondly, the schedule of requirements form is a requirement talaga na required by the GPPD. Na nakalagay naman din talaga ito. So, parang afterthought lang yung sinasabi nila.
And sir, for ano lang, for all intents and purposes, nireview namin yung documents, yung big
Nandun talaga.
Nag-submit naman sila before na may schedule of requirements.
Ito.
Yung sa una nila.
So, it's obviously... No bidder?
Yes, sir.
Ang dati, ang second na rin po.
Hindi, malalaman sila yung desktop natin na nakumpay.
Yung lang, ano natin sa lab.
What's the pleasure of the back?
Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of the TWC recommendation to deny the request for the consideration of Dallas Enterprises with regard to the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of servers for lack of merit.
It has been moved as a cabinet to adopt the recommendation of the to the request for consideration of Dallas Enterprises survey.
Yes, I move to declare this procurement of the
Wait a second. It has been moved as a cabinet to declare the
server.
Supply and delivery of servers a failure to either position thereto. Hearing that, motion is carried, Secretary to prepare the necessary resolution and votes.
during the opening of bids for the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of customized asset status and performance automation system, hardware and software, the loan bidder, BT Industries Incorporated, was declared fail for failure to comply with the technical specifications. One of the specifications for label is 2,280 per roll per box. Loan bidder. BT Industries submitted a brochure with the following specifications of yung 1,000 per roll and 1 box.
So yung brochure na sinasabi nila, ito yung sinasabi natin na kung wala kang physical, you go online, you print it out.
Yes.
Pero ang na-print out nila, nakalagay 1,000 per roll and 1 box.
Yes, sir.
Nakalagay ba doon na pwede customize? Kasi kung customize ang model ka, hindi mo makikita sa brochure talaga yun.
Pwede ko pa tingin mo. Kasi hindi na kasi pwede maglagay na.
Kaya hindi kasi OC. Ba't may naman dito?
Okay. So I am looking at a printout from the barcodegiant.com, zebra r dash 100.180.htm, wherein it states, okay, so basically pinapakita nito na ito yung available na barcode data. Wherein its description, the description na to is the correct description.
Yes, sir. Except lang po sa 1,000.
Saan niya nakukuha to na you can purchase and it can be customized? Saan niya nakuha yun? Ito lang, pareho pa to. Is this the same thing? Yung mga first pages? Ito starting here, this is the brochure.
Yes, sir, for the label.
So the label is G Ultimate 4000 E high top talaga. The trademark.
Hindi, sir, wala yung ano. Ito siguro, sir.
Yung G Ultimate. Ito 4,000.
4,000 high track wide.
Okay, so 4,000 high track. Ito yung features. The features are correct.
Yes, sir, except lang sa number of roll, per roll, per box.
Okay. Hindi, sinasabi naman nila doon. Sinasabi lang nila na hindi mo makikita because yan ang i-order mo. Hindi ko alam kung nakikita ba dito. Kasi wala akong nakikita with regards this. Kasi, volume yan. Hindi ko alam kung pwede mo nga i-order. Okay.
Sa POR natin at saka except for doon sa number.
Sa volume. Kasi hindi mo pwede yan. Saan niya nakukuha yung fact na kaya niya i-customize yung row and yung form and yung number per box as in compliance. Hindi ito sa akin. Ano may machine ito? Baka naman kung mas makapalitin ka siya. Nasa loob ba ito?
Parang reboot yan.
Depende nga. Kasi yung gano'n, baka naman hindi din kaya mali sa akin yun. Pero sa akin, how can they say na kayang baguhin yung specs na yan? Pero hindi nila kayang ipakita sa brochure because yan yung order nila yun. Sa order nila yun.
Okay, yung purpose nito is itong mga items natin, we will make a system. Now, each item, dinikitan mo ng sticker na label sa loob na ito yung paparelease mo. So, ang require natin, each row should have 2,280 labels per row. Yung problema natin, hindi ito sa akin. We have to comply with this kasi this is the specs. Pero kung sinasabi nila na nakalagay dito na you can modify it, na hindi talaga lalabas yun in a brochure. Pero dapat nakalabas din dito na kaya mong i-modify para masabi natin, okay, they can comply with that requirement and that's compliant with the brochure. You don't have to put the number, pero kaya nilang ma-establish that they can comply with that because the manufacturer said, we can modify. Hindi ko na nakikita dito paano mo modify. Kasi nakalagay dito, 1,000 per road, 1 box plate. Although ito yung nakalagay dito. Kasi sinasabi nila, hindi na mababago yung literature. Pero,
sabi nila, we cannot omit or alter the
So, Chair?
Yes.
Oo. Meron bang sinabi yung manufacturer that they can comply doon sa requirement natin? Even though hindi siya nakalagay sa brochure?
Hindi. What we're looking for now is proof that they could comply with the 2,280 per roll and 4 per box. Inaalage nila sa report na sabi ng manufacturer, it can be customized. Kasi ang pinakita lang nila sa brochure is they can comply with the requirement regarding the technical specifications of the label. Eh, wala akong nakikita dito. Kasi naka-highlight. Ay ba naka-highlight nito? Sila?
Yung ano sila nag-highlight na sa
Wala tayo magagawa eh. Kasi ito yung sinabi ng end user natin. Sinabi ng end user, we want 2,280 per road and 4 per box. Ang sinasabi nila, we give you the brochure, ito yung specs ng label, that's good. Problema natin, na nakalagay, 1,000 per road and 1 per box. Hindi, unless nakalagay, sinasabi nga nila na hindi na malalagay yan, pero customizable yung order na yan. Hindi, proof kasi kailangan natin. Kasi as stated in the technical specification, it's not sufficient that you put comply, but you must put proof na
the same thing that we did.
Wala sa brochure.
hindi. Kasi sinasabi lang kay boss, hindi, okay lang yun. As long as they can establish na it's customizable, diba? Kasi ibig sabihin, they can comply with that requirement. Nilagay nila dito na it can be complied with because they can order. Pwede ba? Baka hindi nila nakikita lang dito, kaya mo tanungin. On this document, kaya ba nilang ituro na kaya i-customize? Kasi kung kaya nilang ituro, tapos kung hindi nila, kung wala dito, enhancement yung Secretariat, pwede ba yun? Clarification. Kaya ba on this document sabihin nila na compliant sila? Oh, ito lang ang pages natin. But kasi they're saying here, kaya nila i-comply.
Sir, kung wala naman silang makuha na brochure indicating the amount na nire-require natin. Kasi ang sinabi nila, hindi naman nila ma-alter.
Yes. Yes. That can be accurate as long as they can say the company will customize it.
comply. Diba? So, ibig sabihin, kasi volume lang naman yan. Pero, I don't see where they're getting na kaya nilang i-customize. Absent that, parang hirap na sabihin natin this is sufficient proof that they comply with the technical. Hindi. Kasi, hindi, when you say because yung packaging yun. Okay. Yung TOR, the terms of the specs under the TOR are the specs that hinihingi sa atin as back ng HT, which we are duty bound to comply with. We cannot accept a delivery less or different from that which was presented to us. Now, what we have before us is a paper who says, tama naman yung specs kung anong hinihingi natin. Hindi lang niya mapakita na kaya niyang i-deliver yung in the packaging that we want. Now, they're saying sa request for consideration nila, na mako-customize yun. Hindi ko nakikita na kaya i-customize based on the 3 pages na ikakulita. Bakit na nalilito siya sa ibang specs? Hindi, pero ano proof nila yan? Kasi ang nakalagay dito, it's 1,000 per roll, 1 per box. Hindi. Enhancement to. Kasi, okay, what is before us? What is before us is the technical working group. The requirement is, nakalagay sa specifications natin na it has to be this, and they stated that they will comply. Now, as a requirement, they have to submit proof that they can comply. And so far, on the percent nilang proof, they are able to comply with the specifications of the legal. But ang proof na sinabit nila shows, falls short of the requirement of 2,280 per roll and 4 per box. Ang nakalagay dito, 1,000 per roll and 1 per box. Now, they're explaining na, una, hindi nila mababago yung literature, which is correct. Okay lang yun. As we discussed earlier, you print it out, okay na yun. Hindi mo mababago yun. Ang sinasabi lang nila na customizable to, hindi ko makikita sa nila na sabi yun. Any other comments? John?
Mr. Chair, parang ang hirap lang din talaga na makita dun sa brochure yung yung sinasabi nilang capable sila. Per sole bidder ba to? Wala ba tayong ibang bidder dito?
Sole bidder ka.
Siya lang, Mr. Chair, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, kasi gusto ko sana i-compare kung meron tayong ibang kaya na nakalagay dun sa sa brochure nila na kaya yung specs na binigay ng RC concerned.
No, this is may iba ng participate pa sa pwede.
Wala yata.
Napaka-specific kasi yung requirement natin, 2,280. Hindi naman natin as back, hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin sa end user. Ang sinabi niyo sa amin 2,280, tingin natin imposible yun. Pero ito talaga dapat. We should have done that earlier on, hindi naman natin alam yun.
The question is, if we are not involved, then what's the motion specifying yung amount shelf.
Bali, okay lang sa akin yung sabihin nila na okay, wala yan sa brochure. Kasi medyo quantity yan. Sa packaging, nagbabago naman talaga. Kasi kung ikaw na po-order, pwede mo naman sabihin na I want it ganito. Kung makikita ko na ganito. Hindi. Can we take judicial notice of that? Na if you order something, pwede mo i-specify yung specification. Medyo mahirap yun. It goes into the gray area by discretion ba? Inalisted isa, baka hindi na natin nakita sa printout. So, sinisilip is yung page. Baka may hindi matanggap mo. Yung iba dapat kasi pag naidikit yung anong nila. So, dapat didikit na nila, hinaiwag nila yung dito.
Wala sa dito. Sa dito.
Dapat total quantity na lang ilalagay nila. Na pwede. Total divided into rows. Or divided into multiple rows. Kung baka magiging issue yan, baka malabo yung hinahanap ni Steph. Ito lang yung alam na. Ang requirement na binigay ko sa amin is 2,280 rows, 4 boxes, 4 per box, 5 boxes. So basically, ang hinihingi nyo sa amin is close to 50,000 labels. Correct? Ha? Kasi, ilang pa siya? Malayo yung ide ito. Kasi kung hindi naman natin titignan ng ganyan, basically, ang kinumit nila sa atin, 5 boxes, 1 roll per box, and 1,000. So it's only 5,000. Ang requirement natin is, hindi, kulang.
Baka 45,000.
Oh. Kasi ito, okay, ito, per box, 4 na yun, mas marami na ito, 5 boxes. Hindi sinasabi lang 5 boxes, 1,000 ang pinibigay nila. O per box, 5 boxes ang hinihingi natin.
So, 5,000 yun.
Hindi, 5,000 ang kinukomit niya, 45,000. Ha? Eh, yung nakalagay. Nakalagay. See? Okay. So, an examination of the site, which was printed out, reveals that there is, nakikita natin lahat ito. Wala tayong nakikita wala, sa akin ito yung order mo eh. Basically, you order that. In one card. Okay. Paka-deliver natin sa isang pinalaki naman. Isang box naman sa usap lang eh. Yes, I cannot see how they can deliver based on the terms of reference. Hindi pa iba sa requirement yan ay itidikit lahat. Tapos nasisira. the wisdom of what they're ordering is not to Joe?
To chair denial.
Okay. Hindi, as much as we would like to see kung meron, wala talaga tayo makita. Okay. I can accept na sa website, hindi mo mababago yung quantity. Pero dapat may nakalagay doon na pwede mong i-modify para masabi as proof that they can comply with the requirement provided for us. No, hindi naman pwede yun. Hindi. Hindi. Ito, even if that is true, that is our requirement. It will not help the request for reconsideration. You say, kasi katanga naman yung bakit yun ang dami hinihingi per row.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of the DWG recommendation to deny the request for consideration filed by BT Industries Incorporated with regard to the supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of customized asset status and performance automation system, hardware and software for that of merit. General motion session.
Irrespective of the second, the documentation and commissioner. Hearing that, the request for consideration of BT Industries Incorporated is hereby denied. Recognizing the single corporation necessary and notice. In light of the denial of the request for consideration, we have no valid bidder for this project. What is the pleasure of the back?
I move for the declaration of failure for this
Good. It has been moved as a candidate to declare the procurement of supply, delivery, installation, and commissioning of customized asset status and performance automation system, hardware and software to be a failure. Secretary of the preparation as a serve resolution and notice. On the next portion of our agenda, the bid evaluation report.
Bid evaluation report relative to the supply, delivery, and installation of air conditioning units in the Canadian office for management officers under Office Care June 8, 2021. The budget of the October Parliament as published advertises 50 million pesos. The invitation to bid for the said project was posted on May 19 in the PTA and Children's website and the conspicuous place of the PTA practices continuously for 7 months. In response to said invitation to bid, Baker's Enterprise, Electric Refrigeration, Air Conditioning Services, and Food Tech Corporation should be documented in the amount of 5,000. During the private conference held on June 2021, the bank clarified the requirements, verification, and specifications stipulated in the bidding documents, the technical and financial components of the contract will be Baker's Enterprise, Food Tech Corporation, and Refrigeration or air conditioning services, drafted technical and financial needs, and the respective bid process before the deadline of 9 a.m. on June 15, 2021. During the opening of bids held on June 15, 2021, in the presence of the bidders' representatives, first envelopes of Food Tech Corporation, Baker's Enterprise, and FMG Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Services were moved and shared with the bank members. To determine the bidders' compliance with the legal, technical, and financial requirements. After due evaluation by the bank and the motion to make the proper seconded, FMG Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Services was declared as passed with the requirements of the first envelope. Baker's Enterprise and Food Tech Corporation were declared failed with the requirements of the first envelope with the following grounds. For Baker's Enterprise, failure to submit a proof of compliance, it must have local service centers. The submitted schedule of requirements failed to indicate the total number of air conditioning units of 164 per supplemental bid briefing number 1. Number 3, failure to comply with the number of units for the inverter ceiling mounted type air conditioning equipment 5.0 TR in the technical specification form for supplemental bid bulletin number 1. Number 4, failure to indicate in the technical specification form the location where the additional 3 units of inverter ceiling mounted type air conditioning treatment should be installed for supplemental bid bulletin number 1. For True Temp Corporation, failure to submit local compliance under requirement that it must have local service center. Aegis Enterprise and True Temp Corporation signified their intention to file their respective reports for reconsideration under failed ratings, and back informed them that back will be retaining their unopened second envelopes pending the resolution of their request for reconsideration. After the first envelopes were opened and verified as to their completeness, the second envelope of refrigeration and air conditioning services was opened. The documentary requirements were checked and the bid price was sent to the chairperson and then reported. Upon motion duly made and properly seconded, FMG refrigeration and air conditioning services was prepared as one with the requirements for the second envelope. On June 17, 2021, True Temp Corporation filed via electronic way a request for reconsideration of its failed rating on the ground that the proof of compliance on the requirement that it should have a local service center will be complied with during the post-qualification process. On the other hand, on June 18, 2021, Aegis Enterprise filed its request for reconsideration on the following grounds. 1. By confirming and signing the supplemental bid bulletin, it is understood that it agrees and binds itself to all the changes, revision, and amendments stated in the supplemental bid bulletin. 2. The word comply indicated in the bid by the bidder on the technical specification form is already sufficient to comply with the requirements of the bidding documents. The PTA allegedly has no clear requirement of any certification on the checklist of the technical and financial document. And 3, its bidder offer is allegedly lower than the other bidder, whose financial envelope has already been opened and is more advantageous to the government. After deliberation, upon motion duly made and properly seconded, the request for reconsideration of True Temp Corporation, the Aegis Enterprise were denied on the following grounds. For True Temp Corporation, the proof of its compliance must be submitted together with the technical specification form. The technical specification form provides that statements of comply or not comply must be supported by evidence in a bidder's bid and cross-reference to that evidence. Evidence shall be in the form of manufacturer's amended sales literature, unconditional statement of specifications, and compliance issued by the manufacturer, samples, independent test data as appropriate. Statement that is not supported by evidence or is subsequently found to be contradicted by the evidence presented will render the bid under evaluation liable for rejection. For Aegis Enterprise, there is no legal basis under RA 9184 for its 2016 revised IRR and the standardized Philippine bidding documents that require bidders to attach a copy of the supplemental bid bulletin as part of their submission. Since they are not one of those documents required to be enclosed in a technical and financial component envelope, in accordance with RA 9184 and its IRR. The bidder must submit a bid or offer using the bidding documents issued by the PTA, incorporating the changes, amendments made in the bidding documents for supplemental bid bulletin bid document. The statement comply of the bidder in the technical specification form should be supported with proof of its compliance with the technical specification required under the bidding documents. The technical specification form provides that statements of comply or not comply must be supported by evidence in and cross-reference to that evidence. Evidence shall be in the form of manufacturer's unamended sales literature and provisional statement of specifications and compliance issued with the manufacturer. Samples, independent test data. Statements not supported by evidence or subsequently found to be contradicted with the evidence presented will render the bid unlabeled version liable for rejection. Number 3, the contention that its bid offer is undertaken to the government is premature since the bank has yet to open its financial envelope. For a bid to be considered advantageous to the government, it is not enough that the bidder offers the lowest price its technical benefit should also comply with the technical specification set by the procuring entity in the bidding documents. Hence, offering the lowest bid is not a ground to protect the government, award the contract in his or a board, nor to compel him to accept this bid. As a first step to determine the lowest calculated bid, detailed evaluation of bid was undertaken. FMG refrigeration and air conditioning services bid price is 48,441,430 pesos and 44 centavos. The bid offer of FMG refrigeration and air conditioning services conform to the required items specified in the form. No deviation was found in the bid proposal. Arithmetical computation errors were found in the financial proposal of FMG amounting to 465,907 pesos and 69 centavos. Hence, the corrected bid of the said bidder is 47,975,522 and 75 centavos. Pursuant to Rule 9, Section 32 of the 2016 Revised IRR of RA 9184, and based on the result of the bid evaluation, the DWG recommends to declare FMG refrigeration and air conditioning services at its calculated bid price of 47,975,522 pesos and 75 centavos as the single calculated bidder and the cost qualification conducted on said bidder.
Some of these discrepancies specifically before the exam. Is the price schedule
Like for unit zero.
Oo, yung one HP na kilobit niya,
Ilagay niya yung delivered price.
dapat may quantity.
Hindi,
Dapat may price per unit.
Nasino po.
Sa office of the department manager ng civil. Siguro bakit ang ibigay niya.
Mr. Chair, I move for the adoption of the DWG recommendation to declare FMG refrigeration and air conditioning services at its calculated bid price of 47,975,522 pesos and 75 centavos as a single calculated bid that false qualifications being acted.
Yes, the rule is evaluated after recommendation of the technical team group as the paper regulation report for the supply regulation of air conditioning units in PTA office and port management office. Clarification thereto, there being that, FMG refrigeration and air conditioning services at its calculated bid price of 47,975,522 pesos and 75 centavos as clear, a single calculated bidder. Technology.
Now, Mr. Chair,
The reason is